Shri Gurun Shri Uttapakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Om Agyana Tamirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namahom Vishnupadaya Gauda Prishnaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Vaneti Namine Vandeham Bhakti Chakoram Gauranganija Preshtitam Srimate Bhaktivedanta Samivanam Namastubhyam Shri Radha Ekanishtita Rasayana Katamritam Sankirtanam Anandadam Goswami Vanam Namaha Shamarani Mataram Vande Agnopiyad Anugrahat Tagadat Pavasagadascha Lebecha Krishna Premadanam Shri Krishna Rupaya Vaikikala Visheshagnaya Namamyaham Pujam Shamaranim Swaparikaraya Namahom Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Shiman Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine Shri Krishna Linakirtana Sudaksham Udorya Madhurya Gunesha Yuktam Puranvaranyam Purushan Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Shirasanamami Namaham Vishnupadaya Keshava Priyatmane Shri Shiman Bhaktivedanta Vamaniti Namine Gaura Bhava Mayon Deha Ujvara Sambhavaka Bhaktivedanta Vamano Rag Bhakti Pravartaka Guru Damni Chasevasu Vaishnave Sarvadamati Grante Bhagavate Sakshat Goswami Vedante Rati Namoham Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvashesha Shunyavari Paschatya Deshatarine Namoham Vishnupadaya Acharya Simharupine Shri Shiman Bhakti Pragyan Keshaviti Namine Hatimarcha Charitraya Swashittanam Chapaline Jivaruke Sadartaya Shnama Premadayane Kodishraya Vigrahaya Krishna Kama Ekacharine Rupanuga Pravadaya Vinodeti Swarupine Prabhupadantarangaya Sarvasadgunashaline Mayavaratamoghanaya Vedantartavade Namaha Namaham Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Vaishvanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prapave Namaha Madhurjvana Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murte Dinatarine Rupanuga Virapasiddhanta Dvantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Padambojayate Namaha. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Virayate Godhavya Bhava Bhumesvam Nirjesta Sajjana Priyaha Vaishnava Savabhomashi Jagannatayate Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahaviranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gunatvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Surato Pangur Mama Manda Mategati Matsarvaswa Parambojo Shirata Marana Mohano Divya Brindaranya Kapadrumadha Shimad Nagara Simhastanashto Shimad Radha Shinagovinda Revo Vrishtani Visevimano Smarami Shimad Rasada Sarambi Vamshivata Tashtitaha Karshan Venu Svane Gopir Gopinata Shriestuna Vrindhaye Tulasi Devyaye Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Page 23. Krishna hoite jato mukha Hoya Krishna sevan mukha Brahma hoite narandera mohati Narara hoite vyasa Madhvaka vyasa dasa Purna pragna padmana bhagavati Nrihari madhava vamshe Akshobhya paramahamse Shishabon liyangi karakore Akshobhyera shisha jaya Tirtaname parichaya Taradasya jnana sindhu tore Taha hoite doya nidhi Taradasya vidya nidhi Rajendra hoiro taha hoite Tahara kinkara jaya Dhammaname parichaya Parampara janavadamate Jaya Dhammadase kyati Shri Purushottama jati Tahoite Brahmanya Tirtha Sohori Vyasa Tirtha Tara Dasa Lakshmi Pati Vyasa Dasa Tahoite Maravendra Puri Maravendra Puri Varashisha Varashishvara Nityananda Shri Advaita Vibhu Ishvara Puri Kedanya Karilanya Shri Chaitanya Jagaguru Gaura Mahaprabhu Mahaprabhu Shri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayanya Rupanuga Janira Jivana Vishwambara Priyankara Shri Swarupa Damodara Shri Goswami Rupa Sanatana Rupa Priya Mahajana Jiva Raghunatha Hana Tara Priya Kavi Krishna Dasa Krishna Dasa Priya Vara Narottama Seva Para Charapara Vishwanatha Asha Vishwanatha Bhakta Satta Parna Deva Jagannatha Tarapriya Shri Bhakti Vinoda Mahabhagavata Vada Shri Gaura Kishora Vada Haribhajanete Jaramura Shri Vashava Navi Vada Sada Seva Seva Vada Tadadaita Dasanama Prabhupada Antaranga Shri Swarupa Rupanuga Shri Keshava Bhakti Pragyana Gauriya Vedanta Vetamaya Varotamohanta Gauravani Prachara Chandama Pracharina Gauravani Bhakti Vedanta Swami Pranina Prabhupada Kama Kesha Priya Mahajana Vamana Narayan Hana Gauravani Tare Pranadana Esabhari Jana Gaurangera Nijanjana Tareda Uchiste Morakama Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara. Page 36. Jai. Nirvanavasi Jato Vaishnaveda Gana Partame Vandana Kori Sabara Charana Nilachara Vasiyato Mahaprabhu Gana Bhumite Podiya Vando Sabara Charana Navadvipa Vasiyato Mahaprabhu Bhakta Sabara Charana Vando Hoyanurakta Mahaprabhu Bhakta Jato Goda Deshe Stiti Sabara Charana Vando Gaudiya Pranati Jai Deshe Baise Gaurangera Gana Udvabahu Kori Vando Sabara Chalana Hoyachena Hoy Bena Prabhu Jato Dasa Sabara Charana Vando Dante Korigasha Brahmanda Torite Dati Jare Jane Jane Eveda Purane Guna Gaya Jebashune Mahaprabhu Gana Sabha Patita Pavana Taido Bemui Papiro Inusharana Vandana Korite Moon Kato Shakti Dori Tamo Buri Moshe Dam Damba Matra Kori Tatapi Mukera Bhagya Mane Raura Dasha Dokshakshami Mondame Koro Nijadasa Sava Vancha Siddhi Hoy Yama Banda Chute Jagate Durlabha Hoy Prema Dana Rute Manera Vasana Puna Hachirate Hoya Devaki Nandana Dasa Elo Bekoya Jayo Vaishnav Thakur 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 Vaishnav Thakur Jayo Vaishnav Thakur. Page 200. Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vande Rupa Sanatana Dasa Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jivedoya Kori Swaparshada Swiyandama Sahavatari Atyanta Durlabha Prema Gauri Baridana Shikaya Sharanagati Bhakatera Prana Danya Atmani Vedana Goptip Devanana Avasharakshi Be Krishna Vishvasapalana Bhakti Anukula Matra Kayera Svikara Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Vajanangikara Sharanga Sharanagati Hoi Bejara Tahara Pratana Shune Shinanda Kumara Rupa Sanatana Pade Dante Trenakori Bhakati Vinoda Pade Tupada Dori Kandiya Kandiya Bole Amita Dama Shikaye Sharanagati Garohe Utama Jayo Smarpashada Jayo Gaurahari Swarpashada Jaya Gaurahari Jaya Swarpashada Jaya Gaurahari Swarpashada Jaya Gaurahari. Would anybody like to lead for Nitai?
Nitai Guna Mani Ama Nitai Gunamani, Nitai Gunamani, Nitai Gunamani, Aniya Premera Banya, Vasai Lovani. Premer Banya Loya Nitai, I logoda deshe. Ilila Nitai. Tubilo Bhakata Gana, Dinahina Vase. Tubilo Bhakata Se. Dinahina Patipa, Maranahi Vache. Dinahina Pramada Dolava Prema, Sabakare Dache. Pramada Abadha Karuna Sindhu Katiya Mohana. Katiya Mohana. Gare Gare Bule Prema Amiyarabana. Gare Gare Bule Prema Lochan Bole Mora Nitai Jevana Bajilo. Lochan Bole Mora Nitai Bajilo. Chaniya Suniya Se Atmagati Hoilo. Chaniya Suniya Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai. Nitai Gaur Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Nitai Gaur Haribo, Nitai Gaur Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Nitai Gaur Haribo. Jai. Gauranga. Nice song.
Nam Kirtan. Is that where we are? I thought it said something about Mahaprabhu here, yeah. Yeah, Gaur Chanda Bole. जीव जागो गोरा चंद्र बोले जीव जागो কত নিদ্রা মায়া পিসাচিরা কোলে জীব বলিয়া এসে সংসার ভিতরে বুঝিব ভুলিয়া রহিলে তুমি অবিদ্যারা বলে তোমার লইতে আমি হইনু অবতার তোমার আমি বিনা বন্ধু আর কে আছে তোমার এনেছি অসাধি মায়া নাশিবার লাগি এনেছি হরি নাম মহামন্ত্র লা তুমি মাগি ভকতি বিনোদ প্রভু চরণে পড়িয়া সে হরি নাম মন্ত্র লইল মাগিয়া জীব জাগো গৌরা চন্দ্র বলে জীব জাগো কত নিদ্রা মায়া পিসাচিরা কোলে জয় গৌর হরি গৌর হরি গৌর হরি জয় গৌর হরি জয় হরি নাম জয় গৌর নাম হরি নাম জয় গৌর নাম Wake up, sleeping souls! Wake up, sleeping souls! Calls Sri Gaurachandra. How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch Maya?
You want to speak in the mic on our live streams?
Oh, do you go around or? You came into this world saying you will worship the Lord, but having forgotten this, you remain burdened by ignorance. If it is only to deliver you that I have descended, who but me is your friend? I have brought the medicine that will destroy the disease of Maya. Take these holy names, I beg you. Falling at the lotus feet of Sri Man Mahaprabhu, Bhaktivinoda has begged for and accepted this Harinam mantra. Jai.
Would you like to lead another bhajan? It'd be nice. We're always just listening to each other.
But I want to listen to you guys. I know how it is. People come to New Bridge and we're like, you guys sing all the time. And they're like,
I think she wants to listen to you.
what do you have in mind?
Would you learn to Radha and Krishna together? Do you know Hari Hari Dimora Hari Sini?
Sure. I think that you can do, what page is that?
122.
Gurudev is nice too.
Hari Hari kabe mor hoibe sudina. Kabe mor hoibe sudina. Bhajibo Shri Radha Krishna hoya premadina. Bhajibo Shri Radha Krishna hoya premadina. Sujantre mishaya gavo sumadhuratan Anande koribo duhar rupa guna gana. Anande koribo duhar guna gana. Radhika Govinda boli Kandi buchai share. Radhika Govinda boli Bhajiva Sakalayanga Nayanera Nire. Bhajiva Ebara karuna kara rupa sanatana. O Raghunatha Dasha Mora Shri Jiva এবার করুণা করো ললিতা বিশাখা সখ্য ভাবে শ্রীদামসু বালয়াদি শাখা সবে মিলে করো দয়া করুক মরায়া আশা। প্রার্থনা করো সদা নরতম দাসা। এবার করুণা কর রূপাসনা তান রঘুনাথ দাস মোর জীব জীবন এবার করুণা কর ললিত বিশাখা সখ্য ভাবে শ্রীদামসু বালয়াদি শাখা রাধে 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 জয় 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 শ্রী রাধে হে রাধে 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 জয় জয় শ্রী রাধে হে রাধিকা রমণ জয় রাধিকা রমণ রাধিকা রমণ জয় রাধিকা রমণ হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে that auspicious day be mine? When I will serve Shri Shri Radha Krishna, being controlled by Prem? Accompanied by musical instruments, I will sing sweet melodies in great bliss. I shall perform songs that glorify the form and qualities of the divine couple. While singing Radhika Govinda, I will weep loudly and my entire body will become soaked by the tears from my eyes. O Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, O Raghunath Das Goswami, O Sri Jiva Goswami, my life and soul, be merciful to me now. O Lalita Vishakha, O Sridham, Subal, and other friends of the Sakya Bhav, be merciful to me now. All of you together, please be merciful, and let my desires be fulfilled. Narottam Das constantly prays in this way. Is this Lala Samai?
Jnanam timirandasya Jnananjana salakaya Chaksurunmilitam yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadavaktaya Namo Nama Yang Pravarjantam Manupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Taruajuhava Putre Ditanmayataya Taravo Benedus Tang Sarvabhutaridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vihinai Aparada Lakshay Chiptasya Kamadi Tarangamadye Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapadyam Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tavaivasmi Najivami Tam Bina Iti Vigyai Radhe Tam Nayamam Charanantike Kripayati Yadirada Badita Sheshabada Kema Paravishishtam Pushti Marya Dayorme Yadi Vadati Chakinshit Smeraha Sodita Srir Dvijavadamani Panktya Mukti Shuktya Tadakim Shama Sundara Shikanda Shek Raha Samurali Manohara Radhika Rasikama Kripanite Swapriya Charana Kinkari Kuru Prananata Vrishabhanu Nandani Srimukhabjarasalo Satapada Radhika Paratale Kritastitim Tam Bhajami Rasikendra Shek Samvidaya Dashane Trinam Vibo Prartaye Brajamahendra Nandana Astu Mohan Tavati Ballabha Janma Janmani Madhiswari Priya. If Sri Radha is merciful to me, then unlimited obstacles to my devotion will be removed. There will be nothing superior for me to attain, because I will have received the excellence offered by the paths of both Vaidhi and Rag. And if she speaks something while smiling gently, thereby revealing the brilliance of the rows of her beautiful pearl-like teeth, then what significance will the oyster of liberation have? O Shamsundar, O you whose head is adorned with peacock feathers, whose face is graced with a laughing smile, whose Murali flute enchants the mind, and who is most expert at relishing ras with Srimati Radhika. O ocean of mercy, please make me a kinkari maidservant at the feet of your beloved. You are the Lord of the life of the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, and you are like a bee, always eager to taste the nectar of her lotus-like face. O Rasikendra Shekhar, foremost of those who are Rasik, who are situated at the feet of Srimati Radhika, I worship you. O son of the king of Braj, O all-pervading one, O Mohan who enchants the minds of all, taking a piece of straw in my teeth, I pray that your supremely beloved Sri Radha be my dear worshipful goddess, birth after birth. First I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nichalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudevs, Nichalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj and Shri Srimad Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj. To our grandfather gurus, Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj and Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and to his divine associates, and to all the assembled devotees. And the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus, and my Shiksha Gurus, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Madhav Maharaj, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Ban Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. So of course, that prarthana that we all uttered to Srimati Radhika, showing that the goal of our life is to become her maidservant, and the goal of our praying to Krishna, what we want for him, is that he helps us achieve that goal. But in Russia, Gurudev was kind of chastising the devotees because they just wanted to concentrate on any literature dealing, or any lecture dealing with Manjari Bhav, and like desiring to skip the other parts of the Bhagavatam to get there. So Gurudev said, if Srila Vyasadeva wanted that you just concentrated on Manjari Bhav and not on the steps and philosophy to get there, he would have written only one book. So he wrote so many books and so many cantos of the Bhagavatam. So now we have come to Canto 1, Chapter 9, which is the passing away of Bhishmadev. We wanted to talk a lot about, continuing the topics of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. And we want to also discuss the glory of Bhakti Budev Shroti Maharaj and Bhakti Saranga Maharaj, two very advanced, intimate disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and godbrothers of our Prabhupada. So we'll do that at the end to make sure, because we have to dust ourselves off now for how long it's been since we've been on our Bhagavatam pursuit. So the last time we discussed, let me just interrupt myself here. How many of you have lamented when you made what you considered a gigantic mistake and then wallowed in it? Well, that's what Maharaj Yudhisthira did. But he was feeling guilty that he killed millions of men, horses, elephants, young people. We're at right now the end of chapter 8, where Maharaj Yudhisthira is lamenting. And even Krishna couldn't convince him that it's okay, you did the right thing. So King Yudhisthira said, "Oh, my lot, I'm the most sinful man. Just see my heart, which is full of ignorance. This body, which is ultimately meant for others, has killed many, many phalanxes of men. I've killed many boys, brahmanas, well-wishers, friends, parents, preceptors, and brothers. Though I live millions of years, I will not be relieved from the hell that awaits me for these sins." Did you ever think like that? I'm definitely next life, hell. Okay. There is no sin for a king who kills for a right cause, who's engaged in maintaining his citizens. But this injunction is not applicable to me. I've killed many friends of women, and I have thus caused enmity to such an extent that it's not possible for me to undo it by material welfare work. As it is not possible to filter muddy water through mud, or purify a wine-stained pot with wine, it is not possible to counteract the killing of men by sacrificing animals. So now we're going to see what he's going to do and his brothers. Sutta Goswami said, being afraid of having killed so many subjects, on the battle of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhisthira went to the scene of the massacre. There, Bhishma Dev was lying on a bed of arrows, about to pass away. At that time, all of his brothers followed him on beautiful chariots, drawn by first-class horses, decorated with gold ornaments. With them were Vyasadev and rishis like Domya, the learned priest of the Pandavas, and others. O sage amongst the Brahmanas, who's that? Who's speaking? We just read it. We just read it one second ago. Sutta. I think, I could be wrong. Sutta Goswami said. So who's he speaking to? Shonaka Rishi and the, how many? 88,000 sages. O sage amongst the Brahmanas, Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, also followed, seated on a chariot with Arjuna. Thus King Yudhisthira appeared very aristocratic, like Kuvera, surrounded by his companions. Kuvera is the treasurer of the whole universe. Seeing him, Bhishma, lying on the ground like a demigod, fallen from the sky, the Pandavas, King Yudhisthira, the Pandava, King Yudhisthira, along with his younger brothers, and Lord Krishna, bowed down before him. Even Krishna bowed to him. Just to see the chief of the descendants of King Bharat, Bhishma, all the great souls in the universe, namely the rishis among the demigods, the brahmanas, the kings, all situated in the quality of goodness, were all assembled there. all the sages, like Parvat Muni, Narada, Domya, Vyas, the incarnation, who is the incarnation of God, Bharadvaj, Parsuram, who's he? Yeah, he's the Leelavatar who hatcheted millions of Kshatriyas. And disciples, Vasista, Indrapramada, Trita, Dristamata, Asita, Kakshavan, Gotama, Atri, Kaushik, and Sudarshan were present. Now Srila Prabhupada is very merciful. I'm not going to read it, but I hope you can take the time to read this purport, because it tells about everybody who was just named. I'll just read one just to show you how he does it. Let's do Vashishta, the great celebrated sage amongst the Brahmin, well known as the Brahmarshi Vasistadev. He is a prominent figure in both the Ramayana and the Mahabharata periods. He celebrated the coronation ceremony of Sri Ram. He was present also on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He could approach all the higher and lower planets. And his name is also connected with the history of Hiranyakashipu. There was a great tension between him and Visvamitra, who wanted his Kamandenu, wish-fulfilling cow. Vasista Muni refused to spare his Kamandenu, and for this, Visvamitra killed his 100 sons. As a perfect Brahmana, he tolerated all the taunts of Visvamitra. Once he tried to commit suicide on account of Visvamitra's torture, but all his attempts were unsuccessful. He jumped from a hill, but the stones on which he fell became a stack of cotton, and thus he was saved. He jumped into the ocean, but the waves washed him ashore. He jumped into a river, but the river also washed him ashore. Thus, all his suicide attempts were unsuccessful. He's also one of the 7 rishis, and he's the husband of Arundhati. She's also a star, but she's also a personality. Arundhati. What? What?
Vashishta Rishi tried to commit suicide because Vishwamitra was torturing him.
Torturing him, and just because he wouldn't give him his Kamandenu cow, he killed his 100 sons. Which inspires us to read more about that. And many others like Sukadeva Goswami and other purified souls, Kashyap Muni, Angiras, and others, all accompanied by their respective disciples, arrived there. Who is Kashyap Rishi? Father of Vamandev, yes. And also the father of Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyaksha, how? Because he had 2 wives, at least 2 wives. Aditi, who is the mother of Vamandev, and Diti, who is the mother of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Why? Because she wanted to get a child when it was the wrong time. Lord Shiva was going around with his ghosts at that time. And he said, no, don't. This is a very inauspicious time. But she was feeling so much lust that she didn't care. You know how it is when you get lusty. She didn't care. Like, there's no future reaction. And so, even though he knew it was wrong, because of her alluring nature at that moment, he succumbed to that. I think there's a picture of it in the third canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is tells about the birth of the two demons. Lord Sri Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, yet he manifests his transcendental form by his internal potency. Well, let's translate that. How does he manifest his form? By his internal potency. That means by Radharani's mercy, his form is manifest. This very Lord was sitting before Bhishma Dev, and since Bhishma Dev knew of his glories, he worshipped him duly. The sons of Maharaj Pandu were sitting silently nearby, overtaken with affection for their dying grandfather. Seeing this, Bhishma Dev congratulated them with feeling. There were tears of ecstasy in his eyes. Tears of ecstasy, even though he was lying on a bed of arrows and bleeding. And then there were also arrows in his chest. But still he was crying tears of ecstasy, because when you're experiencing a higher taste, you can give up a lower one. Bhishma Dev said, "Oh, what terrible sufferings and what terrible injustices you good souls suffer for being the sons of religion personified." Who's that? Dharmaraj. Yes. You did not deserve to remain alive under those tribulations. Doesn't mean you didn't deserve it. It means with all that you would have died. Yet you were protected by the Brahmanas, God, and religion. As far as my daughter-in-law Kunti is concerned, upon the great general Pandu's death, she became a widow and with many children, and therefore she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal because of your actions. In my opinion, now he's given the reason for all this suffering. This can help us with our suffering. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as the clouds are carried by the wind.
Before that, you were saying all this is due to your actions, all this suffering. Is he talking to Duryodhana?
No, he said that. He was talking about Queen Kunti. He's talking to the Pandavas. And he said, my daughter-in-law, Queen Kunti, upon the great General Pandu's death, that's her husband, she became a widow with many children, and therefore she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal, also because of your actions. Let's see if Prabhupada explains that. The sufferings of Kunti are doubly lamented. She suffered greatly because of early widowhood, and to get her minor children brought up in the royal family. And when her children were grown, she continued to suffer because of her son's actions. So her sufferings continued. It doesn't say, actually. This means that she was destined to suffer by providence. Very good lesson for us. And thus, one has to tolerate without being disturbed, and to consider how, beyond providence, beyond the will of time, Krishna is there. Who knows the verse? Loud, in a mic. You know the whole thing? Okay. Loud.
Tate nukampam
Good.
sisamikshamano punjana evatmakritam vipakam hridvagva purvir vidadan namaste jiveta yomukte pade sadaibak. One who tolerance I'm freezing.
One who's able to tolerate all the sufferings, considering them
Either the result of one's fruitive activities or directly the mercy of the Lord, meanwhile offering one's obeisances with heart, with words, and by body, they become eligible to become an unalloyed devotee of the Lord.
good and increasing his enthusiasm in serving. He becomes qualified to become in Prabhupada's translation, he says, an inheritor of the kingdom of God, or an unalloyed devotee. So yeah, what were their actions? Yes, they were gambling. Anything else? They didn't really do anything wrong, because Krishna made them gamble, and Krishna allowed them to be cheated in the gambling match. Why? Because he wanted the battle of Kurukshetra to come, to teach many things, and he wanted the Bhagavad Gita to be spoken in the midst of it. And Gurudev said he was also teaching, don't gamble. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, well, all her sons' actions, they were in the house of lac, and it was set on fire. Those were actions. They were in there and they had to escape. But they weren't doing anything wrong. They were just victims. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhisthira, the son of the demigod controlling religion? Bhima, the great fighter with the club, the great bowman Arjun, with his mighty weapon Gandiva, that's a bow, and above all the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. O King, no one can know the plan of Lord Krishna, even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. Very difficult. Why did Krishna allow Aswatthama to kill the 6 little boys, sleeping sons? Right. Lord Shiva, the destroyer, worked through Aswatthama because it was the desire of Krishna to end all those things. And besides, Krishna's relatives didn't really suffer. It was an enactment for us. Even at the end, when Krishna arranged that at Prabhakshetra, which was a holy place, the sons of, even the son of Krishna, Samba, the Krishna's dynasty, they would fight with each other because the children decided to play a joke on, you know about this? Decided to play a joke on the sages, like Durvasa. You never want to fool with Durvasa. And they put a bunch of stuff. Samba dressed up as a woman and put a bunch of stuff under his sari and said, "Can you tell whether this is going to be a boy or a girl?" And Durvasa became angry because he knew it was a joke on them. And so he said, this will be the cause of the destruction of the Yadu dynasty. And so what happened was, a club came. And so they knew that that club was meant to be the end of the dynasty. So they shredded it up and threw it in the ocean, in the sea. But then the pieces came back and grew on the land as big spears. And so they got drunk and they started fighting and they all killed each other off.
Didn't they think it was grass? Like it looked like grass, the spears?
Well, it sort of did, but they knew that they were fighting. I don't think they wanted to fight with straws. And I shouldn't think, but we can find that. And would you like to find that in? And not necessarily now, for next time. What are you looking up? That fight. Yeah. Okay, so Gurudev tells this story that there was a magician, husband and wife, and 2 kids. And they were so expert and famous that they got to perform in front of the king and queen and all of their associates. And the wife, she could tightrope with so many things on her. So after the performance, the king and queen were so happy that they said, here's a garland. A necklace. And so one boy grabbed it, he said, I want it. And the other son said, no, I want it. You know this? So they started, you do? Who does? Govinda? So they started fighting. And then they had swords. You know, because in the act you're supposed to cut off the heads and stuff. So one of them sliced off his brother's head. And then the other one sliced off his brother's head. And the bodies were lying on the floor. And then the husband and wife felt so bad that they sliced them. They also killed themselves. And all the bodies were lying on the floor. And some sweeper came and swept them away. You can imagine how the king and queen felt. They were about to die. So then the next day they got a letter from the mother and father and said, so you gave us a present for our first performance, but you didn't give us a present for our next performance. Yes, we are alive. And if you don't believe us, you can come and see. So that's what happened. So these magicians were very great, but their father was even greater. The point of Gurudev's telling this story is to show that if humans could be great magicians, then what to speak of Krishna. So this magician, I forget his name just now, he was so famous that all the biggest men in India, businessmen, big men, would come and watch him on the stage. So it was supposed to be at like 4:15. And so 4:15 came and left. You know, we are big businessmen. Okay, he's a great magician, but who does he think he is? Told us up, we got a lot of things to do. And then 5 o'clock came along. They got more angry. 5:30 came along. They got furious. They were about to kill him. Then 6 o'clock he moseyed onto the stage very casually, and they were screaming at him, what's wrong? He told them what was wrong. What are you talking about? I came exactly on time. Look at your watches. And it was 4:15. That's pretty powerful. So what to speak of Krishna? So Bhishma continues. Oh, best among...
Sorry to interrupt. That's a story from modern India?
Yeah,
Watches them.
yeah. Maybe 100 years ago or so. O best among the descendants of Bharat, Yudhisthira, I maintain therefore that all this is within the plan of the Lord. Accepting the inconceivable plan of the Lord, you must follow it. You are now the appointed administrative head, and, my Lord, you should now take care of those subjects who are now rendered helpless. This Sri Krishna is no other than the inconceivable, original personality of Godhead. He's the first Narayan, the supreme enjoyer, but he's moving amongst the descendants of King Vrishni, just like one of us, and he is bewildering us with his self-created energy. O King, Lord Shiva, Narada, the sage amongst the demigods, and Kapila, who's he? The incarnation of God, son of who? Kardama Muni. And his mother? Devahuti. All know very confidentially about his glories through direct contact. O King, that personality whom, out of ignorance only, you thought to be your maternal cousin, your very dear friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, etc., is that very personality of Godhead. So what does that mean, that in ignorance only you thought that he was your material cousin? This ignorance is not as great as the ignorance of Jashoda and Radharani and Subal and Sridham. Why? Because in Vrindavan, the associates are fully ignorant of the fact that Krishna is God. Even if he's going to lift a mountain with the nail of the pinky of his left hand. Oh, Narayan did that, wasn't Krishna. And the boys thought, he must be getting tired. We'll have to help him with our sticks, and they did. And the gopis, Radharani, oh Govardhan, if you just come down 1 inch on Krishna, we'll burn you to ashes with our glance. Whereas the Pandavas, they were only partly in ignorance, because sometimes they knew Krishna as their relative, benefactor, messenger, counselor, and sometimes they knew him as God, like when Arjuna saw the universal form on the battle of Kurukshetra. Being the absolute personality of Godhead, he's present in everyone's heart. He's equally kind to everyone, and he's free from the false ego. Hare Krishna. He's free from the false ego of differentiation. Therefore, whatever he does is free from material inebriety. Yeah, what does it mean that he has no false ego of differentiation? And nothing different from him. Because he's absolute, there's nothing different from him. He's Kaivalya. There's nothing except him. He's not going to be envious of anybody. Yet despite his being equally kind to everyone, he has graciously come before me while I'm ending my life, for I am his unflinching servitor. The personality of Godhead, who appears in the mind of the devotee, is by attentive devotion and meditation and by chanting of the holy name, releases the devotee from the bondage of fruitive activities. at the time of quitting his material body. So you all know that he had a benediction that he could leave his body at his will. He would never be forced by a particular time. He could decide. And he got that boon because he took a vow of brahmacharya. That's a whole long story of why he did that. His father was in love with the girl, and the girl's father said, "You can't marry my daughter unless our son becomes the next king." And so Bhishma was there, and he's the rightful heir of the throne. He said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to get married, I'm not going to have kids." And so he got that boon. May my Lord, these are prayers to Krishna, may my Lord, who is four-handed and whose beautifully decorated lotus face, with eyes as red as the rising sun, is smiling. When I did this painting of the Manjaris, their eyes had reddish tips, and one of my godbrothers said to Gurudev, "It's too red, isn't it?" And he said, "No, they're intoxicated with their prem, so their eyes can be red, reddish." Beautifully decorated lotus face, with eyes as red as the rising sun, is smiling. Kindly await me at that moment when I quit my material body. Now Sutta Goswami is speaking again. Well, it's only him speaking the whole time, but sometimes we hear his name. Maharaj Yudhisthira, after hearing Bhishma Dev speak in that appealing tone, asked him, in the presence of all the great rishis, about the essential principles of various religious duties, because he wanted to know now how to be the king. At Yudhisthira's, here is the picture of Bhishma lying on the bed of arrows. And there's another painting in the first canto as well, which Prabhupada told me to do, but it's not in the Bhagavatam, which is that, where is it? I mean, not where is it, if not the Bhagavatam, but where is it in the... It's where the water is coming up. Oh yeah, right. And right next to that is a tiny picture of everybody's around Bhishma, and Arjun had just shot an arrow into the ground, and the water of the Ganges sprouted up from underneath the, what do you call it? No, underneath the ground, and went right into Bhishma's mouth, because Bhishma is one of the sons of Ganga Devi by Santanu Maharaj. So what happened was, Duryodhana, he wanted to give Bhishma some water, and Bhishma refused it. And so Arjun knew what water he wanted to drink, so he shot the arrow, and that was the water that Bhishma Dev wanted. So at Maharaj Yudhisthira's request, Bhishma Dev first defined all the classifications of castes and orders of life in terms of the individual's qualification. Then he systematically, in twofold divisions, described counteraction by detachment and interaction by attachment. I don't know about you, but I don't know what that means. But we'll find out tomorrow, because we want to hear the glory of Sharanga Maharaj. Well, we did do 30 verses, so that's not bad. Okay, any questions? Yeah. Yeah. Yes? Huh?
Sorry, I was talking to Ragnar.
Oh,
I have a question.
yeah.
Is there a visual depiction of the family tree reference that you've seen?
Of the Pandavas?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. You could ask. You can ask the internet.
Actually, I do have a question. Yesterday, I was also hearing Srimad Bhagavatam when we were reading in the morning, and
With your disciples?
yeah, and it mentioned
How many do you
Ashwatthama.
have now?
I don't know.
How many are there in the class?
There's like 5 or 6 attendees,
Good.
and Ashwatthama was chasing after Arjuna, and with the Brahmastra, and Arjuna was angry, so it described his eyes were red like copper. And it said Krishna also got angry, but his eyes were like lotus flowers. So then Arjuna started, or Prabhupada explained in his purport about the Lord's anger, how he's exhibiting anger, but it's not anger. That's why it described his eyes like lotus flowers.
What is it?
That's my question.
Oh.
I wanted to know.
Well, you just heard that from Sutta Goswami, that he does everything without differentiation. And he's equal to everyone. And he loves everyone. And he does everything for everyone's benefit. So he was angry at Aswatthama for sending the Brahmastra as part of his pastimes to forward his pastimes. Because that same Aswatthama, later on, because they let him go, he shot a Brahmastra that was on its way to go into the womb of the mother of King Parikshit. But then Krishna took the size of a thumb and he entered the womb and protected the womb. So one thing that all this shows is how he protects his devotees in certain circumstances and how his devotees depend on him even when things go bad, like the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi were murdered, their heads chopped off. They never got angry at Krishna or said, forget it, I'm not going to love Krishna anymore. So many lessons taught. Does that answer? It doesn't describe there in the purport.
It does describe something, but I wanted to hear from you.
Okay.
And I thought about how there's other instances where we see the anger exhibited, like with Jagai and Madai, Mahaprabhu coming with the chakra. And also I remember one instance when Lord Ram, he glanced upon the ocean with anger. So it's not actually anger because he's, like you said, everything's
To
his and
accelerate
him.
his.
It's past
Like, I mean, you could ask, why did Narada do such a horrible thing when Kamsa was willing to not kill the first baby of Devaki? So Narada came, and because Kamsa said, well, the aerial voice said the 8th child will kill me, not the 1st or 2nd or 3rd. But then Narada came to him and said, don't you know those tricky demigods? Any child could be the 8th. And then Kamsa proceeded to kill all of them. But then why did that happen? Because who are those children? They were previously the sons of Brahma, and they made fun of Brahma, so they were cursed to become the sons of, I forget who, Kalnemi. Huh? I don't know. And then he killed them, and then they became the sons of Devaki, because Kalnemi in his next life became Kamsa, and then he killed him. And then they came back to life later. It's all Krishna's pastimes.
I have a question that I've been waiting to ask in a class, but I realize I think it's a little bit of a longer answer, and so should I ask it, and like if we need, we'll answer tomorrow? Okay. When Radhakanta Prabhu and Shivananda.
Excuse me 1 second. Can you get my beloved masters? Where is it? Okay. Yes.
When Radhakanta Prabhu and Shivananda Sen Prabhus were here, there was question about the name, and it seems that there's disparity between Shastra. Radhakant Prabhu is saying that he's heard from his Guru Maharaj that if a person, like an offensive person or Mayavadi, says the name, it's just syllables. And he can back this up with Shastra of how, well, you don't want to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from any person because it's like when a snake's fangs touch his milk, it poisons the milk. And then Shivananda Prabhu was saying, well, the holy name Krishna is always there. And we hear Nam is not different from Nami. Additionally, we have this pastime of from Srila Haridas Thakur explaining how when a Muslim yells out Haram, even though they're saying, oh, abominable, because they're mentioning the name Ram, they still, I remember if they said they receive benefits or they actually can receive a higher destination, the Vaikuntha planet, because they're calling out the Lord's names. So can you help with that seeming disparity?
They're both right. Let me begin with that, and we can continue tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so, and you could also look up Nama Parad and Jaiva Dharma. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking. And then he's mentioning that it's just akshara, or syllables. But it's like they're not chanting Nam, they're chanting offenses to Nam. But Krishna is always there, he's always everywhere. And so they can get purified. But we'll talk about that more tomorrow. So, where are we? All right, so today we're going to hear about, where are they? Bhakti Budev Shroti Maharaj and Bhakti Saranga Maharaj, but I don't see either of them here. Oh, perhaps he's not, but he's in the, he'll be on the phone. Is Saranga Maharaj here? Oh, great, thanks. Would somebody like to read this? Okay. It's a few pages. It's a lot of pages. It's a ton of pages. Yeah, read a few sections. The devotees can read a few more sections at their leisure. Where does it start?
Agyanasmarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramilitam Yena Tasmaya Shgurave Namaha. Now from my obeisances unto my Diksha Guru, Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Vangasa Maharaj, my Shiksha Guru Pujaniya Shrimati Shamare Didi, and to all the assembled devotees, and unto Sri Srimad Bhakti Shrang Goswami Maharaj, whose divine Titi was the other day. I believe it was Saturday, because we were driving up to Namaste Festival, and I was listening to him, and I appreciate many of his pastimes, especially when we're going out on, say, book distribution or any sort of biksha, because he was one of the top collectors for the mutt. Though, as we'll hear, he was described by one Maharaj as being a radish farmer, because whereas some people, they would cultivate long relationships with a person, similar to an eggplant farmer who goes back to the plant throughout the season for multiple crops. A radish farmer, they pick it out, and that's it. So, the first section, oh, and also to Srimad Bhakti Vigyambharati Goswami Maharaj, who mercifully gave us this book. Thank you so much for this opportunity to purify my tongue, mind, and heart. So the first section is called Full Surrender Means Leaving Nothing Behind. This is also a really great one. So when, prior to joining the Mutt full-time, Srila Goswami Maharaj, then known as Atula Chandra Bandopadhyaya, he worked for the Indian Railways, which provided him with a stable residence. This is another fascinating story of a disciple who, just upon meeting Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, left everything. So, and he was, and for what it's worth, Maharaj Srila Bhaktisaranga Goswami Maharaj is from a very respectable Brahminical family. We'll hear some of the pastimes about that as well. So he had a very good, steady job, but still, upon meeting Srila Bhaktisanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he visited once and stayed there. It sounds like it means in his residence for 3 days in 1921. As a result of his divine association during that 3-day visit, Srila soon to be Bhakti Shranga Samaraj, at the time was Sri Atula Chandra Bandodhyaya, decided to dedicate his life to serving the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Following the principle of the verse from the Mundaka Upanishad 1.2.12, Gurum eva bhikshketet, sorry. Thank you. About how one should carry the firewood to offer to Guru, he understood that upon approaching Sri Guru, one ought to surrender oneself completely without returning home for anything. Therefore, he packed all of his belongings, his table, his chairs, and bureaus, on a truck and brought them to the mutt. He did not leave anything behind to ensure he would never have to revisit his house and settle pending matters. And so the next section is how he's a dear associate of Sriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One day, while when he was still at Sri Atula Chandra Bandodhyaya, he'd recently moved into the mutt, and Sri Srimad Bhakti Prakash Aranya Goswami Maharaj visited many homes and houses and offices to collect donations and find new subscribers for the Gaudiya Mutt's weekly magazine titled The Gaudiya. In those days, Gaudiya was publishing Srimad Bhagavatam installments, often including pictures of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and other Vaishnavacharyas. And this is going to be one of a few stories where Maharaj very firmly stands not only for Srila Prabhupada, but also supports the individuals in their progress and helping them to not make major offenses by considering an Uttam Maha Bhagavat to be a material person. So one day a person asked Srila Ranya Goswami Maharaj, Srimad Bhagavatam is said to be non-different from Bhagavan. Why then have you included pictures of mortal human beings on its same pages? For whatever reason, Srila Ranya Maharaj remained silent. And so, Srila Atula Chandra Bandopadhyaya gave an eloquent yet assertive reply. He said, you have not fully understood the special divine characteristics of Grantha Bhagavat, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, or the book version, the book form of the Lord, and Bhakta Bhagavat, or the devotee of Bhagavan. Nor have you learned the purports of the many essential verses that describe the nature of devotees, such as we say every morning, Saksha Darit Vena Samasta Shashtir, Uktashtata Bhavyata Eva Shadbi, Kindu Prabhurya Priya Eva Tasya, Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam. It's verse 7 from Sri Guruvashtakam. which is that the scriptures unanimously proclaim Sri Hari to be Sakshat Hari, or directly Sri Hari. At the same time, Sri Guru is very dear to Bhagavan. I worship the lotus feet of that Sri Gurudev, who is simultaneously one with and different from Sri Bhagavan. How then will it be possible for you to comprehend that the photographs published in Gaudiya are not of ordinary personalities, but of very special, self-realized souls? Moreover, it will be difficult for you to understand that because of their eternal relationship with Bhagavan, these liberated persons are non-different from him in the same way that Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from him. Maharaj ended the discussion by remarking, I am from a Brahmana family, so high that 14 generations of your family would consider themselves grateful if but one of them happened to drink water from a place where I had passed urine. But for some reason, you're questioning the master at whose feet I have offered my head, as well as the magazine I have come to distribute. And how nice it would be if we were that assertive in distributing books. In the evening, Srila Aranya Goswami Maharaj, the Maharaj who was with him, recounted the story to Srila Prabhupada. He told Srila Prabhupada that although the man was unable to answer although he himself, Maharaj, was unable to answer the man's question, Srila Tula Chandra Bandopadhyaya, who was relatively new to the mutt, gave an apt reply. Upon hearing this, tears flowed from Srila Prabhupada's eyes. He said, Sriman Mahaprabhu has sent one of his close associates to assist us. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj closes the section. We have heard that Sriman Mahaprabhu and his associates appeared before Srila Prabhupada and assured him they would provide both the means and the manpower required to spread Shuddha Bhakti among the masses. In the above-mentioned pastime, Srila Prabhupada confirmed that Mahaprabhu himself had sent his dear associate, Sri Srimad Bhakti Shrang Goswami Maharaj. Okay, so this is another nice one when he's going out for collection, called Causing Others' Faith in the Real Thing is the best type of collection. So whenever Maharaj would go and collect donations, he would go in formal attire in pants and dress. And one day, he visited the home of an exceptionally wealthy person. He rang the doorbell, and the owner personally answered the door. And so when he introduced himself as a member of the Gaudiya Mutt, this wealthy man replied, I have no faith in the Gaudiya Mutt. Completely ignoring the man's words, he walked into the house. And the man became irritated, said, did you not hear me? I said I have no faith in the Gaudiya Mutt. So Maharaj then took down his seat, said nothing, and the man, very irate now, said, I said I have no faith in the Gaudiya Mutt. So Maharaj now replied, yes, I heard you. That's why I have come to your house, to generate your faith in the Gaudiya Mutt. Even before I came, I knew that you had no faith in the Mutt. For if you had, I would not have been visiting you. He's actually said, because if you had that faith, you could not have resisted visiting. Sorry, I read that wrong. So then,
If you had that faith, what?
if you had that faith, you could not have resisted visiting the mutt already.
Oh.
So then, Maharaj expertly explained the aim of the Gaudiya Mutt's mission and its unique specialities. This wealthy man was so inspired that he then offered such a large donation. And Maharaj said, no, I have not come here for a donation. Believe me when I say that I've only come to give you faith in the Gaudiya Mutt. So then with great respect, that man personally drove him back to the Mutt and gave to receive darshan of Srila Prabhupada and offer the donation directly to him. And then afterwards, that man continued to visit the Mutt regularly. This is another nice section about delivering an offender. So, one time, a local district magistrate, a local government person, came to go hear from Srila Prabhupada. And during the conversation, they were just having talks. And during the conversation, the man made really derogatory remarks to Srila Prabhupada. He said, most of your followers seem highly educated. Is it your mission to turn educated people into mendicants? And with that, the magistrate got up and left. So later, when Maharaj heard of this, he saw that Maharaj was upset by it, was unhappy. So then he immediately he got a horse cart and went to the man's house. And when he arrived, he told the man, Srila Prabhupada is an extraordinary personality. He is a personal associate of Bhagavan. Your disrespectful comment has ensured your total ruin. You have played with fire, and now 14 generations of your family will have to suffer in hell. The district magistrate, understanding the mistake he had made, became frightened. He humbly asked Maharaj what he had to do to atone for it. So Maharaj instructed him to beg Srila Prabhupada for forgiveness and to serve him somehow. So at once the two of them returned to the mutt together, and Maharaj implored Srila Prabhupada, please be kind to this man and absolve him of his offense to your lotus feet. So then Srila Prabhupada spoke to the man on many topics, and the magistrate served him by offering him a donation of 500 rupees. So Srila Bhakti Vikram Bharti Maharaj concludes that Maharaj accepted a huge responsibility when he resolved to save the district magistrate from committing a serious offense. This anecdote demonstrates many of Srila Goswami Maharaj's transcendental qualities. He had firm faith in the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. He could recognize the awful fate in store for an offender of Srila Prabhupada, and he mercifully strived for them to atone for their offenses. And by this, he delivered many offenders like a true well-wisher and did whatever he could to cultivate auspiciousness on their behalf. Oh, this is another really good one. So, this is called Defending Srila Prabhupada and his followers. So, when Srila Prabhupada was headed to Rajmandal to form Parikram, the head of the Banki Bihari temple told everybody to not allow Srila Prabhupada and his followers to enter their temples. He said they're all Harijans, which at the time in India, it was the time of Mahatma Gandhi. And Harijan is a term that he was using to refer to people of a lower, who did typically menial work, like sweepers, drain cleaners, washermen, leather workers. And the Banki Bihari managers, the head of the Banki Bihari temple, said he and his followers should not be allowed to enter into our temples. So when Maharaj heard of this, he gathered all the high-class Brahmin devotees, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, like Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Doyat Madhav Maharaj, who at the time was a brahmachari, Srila Narottamananda Brahmachari, who was later Srila Bhakti Kamal Madhusudan Goswami Maharaj, who, as we know, famously brought our Srila Gurudev to the mutt, and our Srila Bhakti Vedanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj to the mutt. Sri Pranavananda Brahmachari, who was later Sri Srimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, and others to meet with the Gosai of the Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan temple. And Srila Maharaj, he gives another really powerful statement about being born into a Brahminical family. So in conversation with the respected Gosai, he says, do we, who have taken birth in a Brahmin families, seem like fallen deviants to you? Have we not conducted ourselves according to the words of scriptures when we resolve to follow the path of pure Vaishnav Dharma? Srila Prabhupada has propagated the principles of Daivi Varnashram Dharma, the social designation of individuals according to not to race or family lineage, but to innate propensities. To maintain a mundane conception of Srila Prabhupada would bring only ill fortune to the world. Wow. Moreover, so here he's implying that, or I think it's implied that these Gosais, these heads of the temples, were saying, "Oh, you're of a lower caste, therefore you should not be allowed in our temple." Whereas now Maharaj is saying, pure Vaishnav Dharma, according to Scripture, has nothing to do with the external caste, but has to do with the internal nature.
Caste.
So then here it says, "May I remind you that I am Atula Chandra Bandopadhyaya. When the Brahmanas of your family approached our family seeking the hand of my daughter in marriage, I forbade it. I told them, we are Kulina Brahmanas. How could we possibly consider allowing our daughter to marry into your family when we despise even the idea of dining in close proximity to you?" The Gosai the head of the temple, begged for forgiveness. And Srila Maharaj, and he accompanied Srila Maharaj to see Srila Prabhupada. He then brought Srila Prabhupada and the Parikram party for darshan of Sri Radha Mohanji and conferred great respect to Srila Prabhupada. Then, when all the other temple heads saw that the Gosai of Sri Radha Madan Mohan behaved in this way, they allowed the rest of the Parikram party to come. The only one who still refused was the head of the Banki Bihari temple, saying that Thakurji would be afraid of the Dandas. And Srila Prabhupada, when he heard of this, he said, "Fine, if this is the case, we shall not enter the Sri Banki Bihari temple. We do not want to frighten Thakurji." So there's many other really excellent pastimes of when he's collecting, but I'll go forward a little bit. Maybe I'll offer for somebody else.
But you seem to be familiar with them.
Oh, okay.
What? What? Right.
Okay, so I'll jump to a little later. And so here's an example of humility. When Srila Maharaj, when he's now Maharaj, he has his mutt in Sridham Mayapur. And while it was under construction, he stayed in Srila Bhakti Doyat Madhav Goswami Maharaj Bhajan Kutir in the Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Mutt. He was highly, highly punctual. He would come and go at exactly the same time every day. That's probably why I like him too. I have a lot really in common. One day, for some reason, he arrived at the mutt 5 minutes earlier than normal. Before entering the Bhajan Kutir, he asked them in all earnestness, "Prabhus, today I've come 5 minutes early. May I come inside the mutt, or should I atone for my unpunctuality by waiting outside?" It's pretty nice, pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So he has deep respect for the Dham. So when Sri Goswami Maharaj would walk from Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Mutt to his mutt, his servant Sri Gauda Das Prabhu and Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj would support him from either side. One day, as they were leaving Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Mutt, they saw Nilu, Sri Yogapita's generator rune guard, driving a new bicycle rickshaw, a vehicle that had only been recently introduced in Sridham Mayapur. Seeing this, his servant, Srila Gaura Das Prabhu, asked Srila Goswami Maharaj, "Maharaji, would you like to go on a rickshaw?" Srila Goswami Maharaj replied gravely, "Me? On a rickshaw in the holy Dham? Never. This will never happen. I know well that you people will all ride in cars in the future, but you will not get a license to do so from me. It is a fact that in his entire life, he never sat in a rickshaw or a car in the Dham. When traveling to the Dham in a car or rickshaw, he would stop at its limits, the limits of the Dham, and begin walking." It's a really sweet drawing of Maharaj walking with his two attendants. Might not be able to see, but he has his arms around them. Okay, and I will do one more about, honoring prasadam. Cool. Honoring all prasada with equal reverence. So when Maharaj would sit to honor prasadam, he would do so only after first mixing together all of the preparations. He would do like Karela, sweet rice, all of it. And the first time that Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj saw him doing this, he was still new to the mutt, and he therefore lacked the understanding of proper Vaishnav Siddhanta, or by pastime. So our Srila Maharaj said, "Maharaj, you will not be able to relish the original individual tastes of these preparations if you mix them all together." Srila Goswami Maharaj replied, "Why should I indulge in the desires of this wicked and insignificant tongue of mine?" As we know, as we sing every day, 3 times a day, Sharira Vijajal, Jodindriya Taikal, Jive Pele, Vishayata Sagare, the tongue is the most greedy and wicked of all the senses. He says it measures merely 2.5 inches. He says it himself. Do you not recite this verse before accepting prasadam? Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swapa Punyavatam Rajan Vishvaso Naivajayate. Those who have very few pious activities to their credit can never develop faith in Mahaprasad and Sri Govinda, in the holy names of the Lord and the Vaishnavas. Maharaj continues, and what about what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written about Mahaprasad? Sharira avijajan chodindriya tahekal jive pene vishaya sagare.
Who has written that?
What's that?
Who has written that?
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Did I say it wrong? Tara majjivayati lobhamasur dharmati take jetakatina samsare. Oh, brothers, the material body is a web of ignorance, and its inert senses are networks and paths leading to death. For they throw the soul into the ocean of material enjoyment. Among the senses, the tongue is the greediest and most wicked. It is very difficult to conquer in this world. Krishna is so merciful, he has given us his own remnants to help us conquer the tongue, O brothers. Honor these nectarian foods, sing the glories of Radha Krishna, and with Prem Kalau Chaitanya Nitai. In other words, he explained, Sri Krishna Prasad is just like nectar. To discriminate between preparations is improper. We should not think, I want less Corella and more sweet rice, or I do not want this item. Please serve me more of that one. He then quoted Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who said, in this world of duality, conceptions of auspiciousness and inauspicious are all functions of the mind. It is delusional to think this is good and this is bad. Srila Maharaj concluded his point by saying, it is therefore better for us to honor the items on our plate with equal reverence, considering them all to be prasadam. He further concludes that if someone would ask him how he liked the prasad he was served, he would always answer, it was very good. They prepared it very well. But if he heard a devotee complain that a dish had not been properly prepared, he would say, go and call the cook at once. He must be punished for being inattentive in his service to Bhagavan. He should be suspended from his service for 2 or 3 days and instructed to atone for his misdeed by constantly weeping and chanting Harinam. Bring him here at once so that I may reprimand him. And Maharaj says this was not merely lip service. He set a precedent by actually punishing those who were inattentive in their service. So in today and many days, pray to Maharaj for his mercy, for his blessings, that I may not become inattentive in my service. Gaur Premanande.
Or may I not continue being inattentive in my service?
Oh yeah, thanks.
That would be a more humble one. Not that you are, but it would be a more humble one. Okay, very good, excellent. Panchakalpatribhyascha kripasinubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. All right, so tomorrow we will discuss Bhakti Gurudev Shroti Maharaj at the end of the Bhagavatam class. There's no holiday, right? Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo.
We were gonna finish Srila Gaur Govinda.
Yeah, I mentioned that at the beginning that we were going to do that. How about if we do it tomorrow? Would you be interested? Actually,
I prepared a little.
okay, because I was going to ask Natai if he was here, because he's a Shiksha disciple, if he could find a video of Maharaj speaking. But yeah, he didn't come. So you want to find something for tomorrow?
I just made some notes. I talked to.
All right. Okay, tomorrow.
I think Nitash is cooking, so he can probably hear you.
Oh, but he can't look for the video
Not well.
while cooking. If he could also find something for tomorrow and you can speak, that'll be great.
I think he's
Okay.
flying to India.
Tomorrow?
Late. Okay.
Okay. It could be his going away.
Yeah.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Premanandi. Anjakalpatri Vascha Kripasanu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Nam. Can you turn that off?